rest. I just have a place I like to stand. That's good. Yep. Thank you. Great.
Better not be least buttons. So here's the dilemma I'm having. My hair is so long that it's hitting my microphone when I move it up any higher. So I'm hoping that this sounds good and we don't have the issues we've been having this week. I can move it up, but I'm afraid my hair is going to hit it. Okay. In less than an hour, our state will transition into phase 2 of easing restrictions. It's part of Governor Roy Cooper's Safer at Home order. Now, in this step, more businesses will be allowed to reopen, including restaurant dining rooms. Governor Cooper just announced a joint effort with the North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association to help businesses ease into reopening. The Count on Me NC is a free online training program that helps businesses operate in a way that protects public health. The training is free for businesses, and some key points include social distancing, employee health, and sanitation. The first phase of training is designed for restaurants and hospitality businesses. The program plans to expand training to lodging and attractions by June. More than 3,000 businesses have already completed that training. Governor Cooper says it's up to all of us to continue taking care of public health, not just businesses.
I urge all North Carolinians to take the COVID-19 restrictions and safety rules seriously.
And of course, they are continuing to stress the 3 W's. That's wash your hands, wear your face covering, and wait 6 feet apart. Good afternoon and welcome to the 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Tahisha Moise and Eric Chilton this afternoon, who are both working from home. We continue to practice social distancing here on the 4 to 5, but we are connected with you on our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. Use our hashtag 4 to 5. But we'll start with Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley, who's tracking some severe storms.
Yeah, Maddie, thank you. You know, we've had the sunshine today for the first time all week. That's the good news. We've been able to enjoy a nice day of weather. The bad news, well, there is a line of storms headed in to North Carolina right now. So far, nothing severe here locally in the Triad, but we really haven't seen it move in just yet. Out here in the northern foothills, this is just some regular old rain with some embedded heavy rain and maybe thunder. But overall, I think the severe weather is very low for the foothill communities. It increases as you go farther south. In fact, in a severe way, right now we look at Charlotte and Gastonia. These areas, there's actually a tornado warning right now for Gaston County, Mecklenburg County, including the city of Charlotte. This is until 4:30. If this storm holds together, it could be approaching places like Montgomery County, southern Davidson, and southern Randolph as we go, let's say, in the next hour. So by around 5:30 or so, we'll want to be paying extra careful attention. Overall, the tornado threat is very low, but that line could be producing damaging wind gusts. Here's the timing. This This is 5 o'clock. Here's 6 o'clock and 7. And then by 8 and 9 o'clock, this is all winding down. So it's pretty much from now until about 9 this evening. The main threat would be for some damaging wind gusts. And of course, with all the rain that we've had, we don't want any more. So there is a flooding concern. Just briefly, none of this will last more than an hour in your area. Just know that it could happen as we go forward. Temperatures have warmed up. We're up around 80 degrees. Coming up, we'll have your holiday weekend outlook for Memorial Day.
Doors open again to customers at businesses like restaurants and salons. This as North Carolina enters phase 2 of reopening. WFMY News 2's Adoria Chumba is live in downtown Greensboro and talked with business owners.
Now, folks here at Smoked Restaurant have rearranged their dining floor seating and moved some seating outside to comply with social distancing. Now, many restaurants here in Greensboro are doing similar and making those changes. This as the executive order that relaxes the restriction kicks in at 5 o'clock. Now, on Wednesday, Governor Roy Cooper announced phase 2 safer at home order. It allows restaurants, barbershops, and salons to welcome customers back inside. Now, some restrictions include limited seating capacity to 50% and one client at a time for grooming businesses. They still have to follow social distancing and enhanced cleaning guidelines, of course. Now, some Greensboro business owners say they are looking forward to welcoming people back and the revenue they bring.
We're not going to wait on tables physically. So you'll come in, you'll order, you'll sit down, and we'll run your food, and that'll be the only contact we really have.
Clients will enjoy it, particularly because most clients want their stylist to themselves the whole time they're there for their appointment anyway.
Now, some business owners remain skeptical about the reopening plans and say they are sitting out this phase of the plan for now.
I'm not going to open up the dining room. I got all my employees in masks, in gloves. They have to wash their hands every hour. All this is mandatory.
Again, the businesses able to open during this phase include meeting, events, and sports venues, as well as beaches and parks. Now, keeping in mind that there is also a 10-person limit to events indoors and a 25-person limit to events outdoors where they do apply.
Adure, thank you. The city of Greensboro is now offering special permits to restaurants so people can sit outside and eat. A permit would allow restaurants to spread out tables on sidewalks, public streets, or in street parking areas. And restaurants will not need to pay the special event permit fee right now. Permits do not apply to outdoor seating on private property. Restaurants, of course, will still have to follow state health regulations and phase 2 guidance from the state. That special permit period ends on June 26th.
The push to reopen gyms and fitness studios in North Carolina is heating up. They were taken off the list of businesses allowed to reopen today at 5 o'clock as part of phase 2. Well, now a group of gym business owners are teaming up to file a lawsuit against Governor Roy Cooper. In just 24 hours, the group of health clubs, fitness centers, fitness instructors, dance studios, and martial arts studios from all across the state have raised more than $15,000 to retain the services of attorney Chuck Kitchen. Now, Kitchen is the same attorney who worked on behalf of hair salons who plan to file a lawsuit against the governor's office. Here locally in the Triad, Will Powell, the owner of Powell Fitness in Greensboro, is trying to assemble a second coalition and second attorney to file a temporary restraining order.
The goal is to get a TRO so that we can open and operate in this second phase of the economy opening. And we feel like this is the shortest way, the shortest route to us getting to open right away and get our businesses going again and get our people served again.
There's also a change.org petition circulating with more than 16,000 signatures urging the governor to let gyms reopen. Nick Hammer, who's based in Holly Springs, says he started the petition because he felt he had to do something.
We just want to be heard. You can't just make a decision in the dark and shut us down. It's livelihoods we're affecting, and lives and mental capacity. This is hurting a lot of people, and they got to know it. They got to know what that decision ramifications are making for everybody.
Now, as things stand now, gyms may be allowed to reopen as part of phase 3, but that wouldn't happen until June 26 at the earliest. Now, I've spoken with some gym owners across the state who say they plan to open their doors anyways, despite the governor's executive order. Well, tonight at 11, our Kevin Kennedy explains how one Triad gym managed to stay open this entire time.
The CDC released some new detailed guidance for reopening the economy and schools. Now, they suggest schools and daycares limit how often classes mix together, like in the bathrooms or on the playground. The agency says community spaces should close and large events at schools should be canceled. They also recommended teachers wear masks and students when possible. Finally, the guidance advises cafeterias to close down and instead students eat in classrooms. Now, here in North Carolina, the State Board of Education approved some new guidelines for all schools if online learning needs to continue in the fall. Schools have to submit their individual plans to the board by this summer, and they have to make sure students with little or no internet access have the ability to learn remotely. The board says those school plans have to make it so students can grow in their own learning. Students with disabilities must have equal access to programs and the internet, and schools need a system to report attendance.
Greensboro Day School says it will continue online learning as an option for students next school year. The decision comes as many schools are deciding how will learning look after months of e-learning. WFMY News 2's Grace Holland takes a closer look at this.
Greensboro Day School plans to welcome students back to campus as usual in the fall, but they will be joined by some online students, possibly from around the world.
We have already had some inquiries, one from another state, one from within outside the Greensboro area, outside of Guilford County, and then a few students actually in China.
Head of school Tracy Catlett says families already want to know more about its online schooling model, not even a day after it was announced. The program will be open to students grades 7 through 12. An online handbook explains grading, which will include final exams like in-person classes.
One of the trainings that our teachers will undergo this summer will be on how to assess students online. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different.
She says the program won't take students completely out of the classroom. A program called Swivel will help with that.
Swivel technology moves and turns with the teacher and picks up the sound from a device that the teacher wears. So essentially what's different about this is students that are enrolled in the online will be virtually in the classroom with other students and the teacher.
Tracy Catlett tells me this means that the school will also be more prepared if there is a resurgence in cases in the fall. I asked her how likely she thinks that is. You can hear what she had to say coming up at 6.
Every now and again, we find a teacher that exemplifies what a teacher should be. Angie Green is one of those teachers. So the pandemic canceled her dance class recital. Now, normally they honor the seniors there and hand them out roses and say a few kind words about them. She took matters into her own hands when she found out that recital would be canceled. Take a look.
So Angie, I just thought this was such a great idea that you did and a way to kind of honor your seniors since things are all topsy-turvy right now. Tell me about the idea and how it came up.
Well, the tradition at Eastern is in our final show of each semester, our Friday night show, the seniors get recognized and they get a flower. And in talking with some of my kids on some of our Zoom classes, they were, sad that they weren't going to get their rose. And I thought, well, I can fix that. I can bring you your rose, and have that little bit of recognition. So that was really the main idea. My kids were just really sad. And I asked permission for them to come. They did not know that the newspaper was coming. That was a little bit of a surprise for them, and they all handled it really well. But no, they knew that I was coming.
So describe what it was like as you approached the house, and I'm sure there are lots of emotions for you as well as for them, but talk about that from both sides. How did you feel about it, and what was their reaction?
I was very sad that I wasn't able to give them a hug. I can't tell you how many hugs I give or get a day from my students. You don't think high schoolers will hug you, but they will, and it's quite fantastic. And I was sad for that, but I was so excited. They were really happy to see me, and I was really happy to see them. So we tried our best not to cry, even though that didn't really work out very well. A lot of them just screamed, "Miss Green, Miss Green, you're here." Which was so sweet. And I call everybody little nicknames. I'm like, "Sweet girl, I'm so glad to see you," and all that kind of stuff. So it was, they were very excited. I could hear them screaming from in the house, "She's here, she's here."
That's excellent. Thanks so much. Awesome work out there. Thank goodness there are teachers like you around. Thanks, Angie.
Man, if that's not a good teacher, I don't know what is. And by the way, she said that she's not stopping with the roses because there's something called the Dance National Honor Society, which I wasn't familiar with, but they have to meet these dance criteria and grades, and it's a dance recognized National Honor Society. She took the cords that they would have worn around their cap and gown, basically over the gown. She took them individually to those seniors that won that honor today. She was still doing that. That's a great teacher that no one will forget, Maddie.
That's amazing. What I love about this, we've seen some stories like this with elementary school kids, Eric. We haven't really hit on high school students too much yet, so just seeing them so excited to see a teacher, you think a lot of times, like she said, you don't expect high school students to want to hug someone, but they do. They miss their teachers. They miss their friends too.
I'll tell you the one thing she said that stuck out for me was she said that a lot of times they would start to cry, and she goes, "I'd put my arms out and go, please don't cry because I can't hug you right now." So they would do air hugs.
Yeah, well, you're right. They will never forget her. That's awesome. Well, don't forget, we are live right now on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter. So join our conversation. Use our hashtag 4 to 5. We want to see what you're chatting about this afternoon. We'll be right back.
Earlier in the show, we talked about the CDC's recommendations for schools once they reopen in the fall. Well, I wanted to know what changes you hope to see implemented as we deal with COVID-19. I asked you all that on my Facebook page earlier today, so let's take a look at what a few of you had to say. Carla writes here, enforce better hygiene and cleaning. Students and staff stay home if they are sick. Do not put them on the bus to come home and make everyone else sick. Alex writes, assume that these kids are not receiving the proper COVID-19 information they need at home. Why not make personal space awareness and good hygiene a way of life? And Maddie, you say you hear the word hygiene and cleaning. I think that's really the thing that's going to be, of course, paramount as teachers and students return to school in the fall. And Maddie, I thought it was interesting, you know, the CDC's recommendation of limiting the amount of interaction between classes. I know that is a big draw, you know, for students in school, but they'll only have to be with the kids that they know in their one class, it looks like right now.
Right, and in elementary school, that's pretty much the norm. You stick with one teacher throughout the entire day, but as you get into middle school and high school, you're changing classes to go to different courses. So it'll be interesting how they navigate that hurdle coming up in the fall. Hopefully they'll be able to go back to school, though. I know they're looking at online classes still, just making a plan for everything. We're heading to break, but remember, the 4 to 5 is always live on social media. We'll see you there. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Okay, most of our lives, they look a lot different right now because of the pandemic, but for some, parts of this new routine are going to stick around. So what's something you've adopted during the pandemic that may last once it's over? I asked you that question on Facebook. Let's see what you had to say. Emily Elliott James said, cooking at home, simplicity of not running here, there, and everywhere. It saves so much money. Eric Ayers said, working around the house and cooking at home. Thomas Dort, I loved this one. He said, does sleeping 14 hours a day count? Not sure exactly how to fit that into the work schedule. If you let us know, Thomas, please report back. Chloe Adele Ford said, "My family and I have been walking at night. We really enjoy it, and it's nice to get out of the house for a little while. I think we'll continue to walk at nights once the coronavirus is over." And Ann Southern Blankenship said, "Cooking more at home, a lot cheaper, a lot healthier. I found new recipes and found my love for it again." A lot of people cooking at home. I think that's awesome. Tahisha, what about you?
For me, it's been saving money, and that's something that I will continue to do. As much as I love TJ Maxx, not being able to go these past 2 months have been great for my wallet. I haven't been getting my nails done, also saving money that way as well. So I'll probably keep that going for a little bit longer.
Hey, I think that's a good habit to make. Eric, for me, it's going to be grocery delivery. I love it. I never loved going to the grocery store.
I love that too. I love that too. Mine is really just saving money on spending on just when you're out and you happen to stop by, either get something to eat or get a coffee or whatever. I have saved so much money with that. Now I got to challenge myself to keep it going.
So I'm interested to hear from both of you. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Would you continue to work at home if that were an option? Thumbs medium for Eric, thumbs down for Tahisha. I want both of y'all to say thumbs down because I am lonely. I need you to get back in the studio. I need us to sit around that round table and have a real conversation again without these weird delays. You guys are fabulous, so I just want to hug you. That's all. All right, well, let us know if anything's going to be sticking around from your pandemic routine on our Facebook page. In the meantime, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley.
Thanks, Maddie. Tracking a line of severe storms right now near Charlotte and upstate South Carolina. If you're in the southern Piedmont, really meaning areas south of Greensboro and south of I-40, that part of the line is headed toward you. Still going to watch this part up here in the foothills. Nothing severe other than just some regular old rain, but certainly we don't want downpours. They're happening again. This is all racing across the state. So thankfully it's a fast mover at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. Nothing severe up there, but there is right down here. You check this out. We're in the Charlotte area now. Nasty thunderstorms putting down some damaging winds. There's a tornado warning in South Carolina for Chester County, out far away from us. That's not going to come here. If you're in Montgomery County though, or southern Davidson, or places like southern Randolph, this nasty part of the line is headed your way. So as we get closer to the 5 o'clock hour, we'll be tracking this storm getting closer to Troy by 5. Anywhere within this general area around the 5 o'clock hour is when I want you to be prepared to just kind of stay inside and be in your safe spot, I would say. Severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for southern parts of the Piedmont, including Davidson County, Randolph, Montgomery, Chatham, Moore, Lee counties, all these places. Not north of I-40 though. The threat of severe weather is lower up here, but we'll track this through about 6 and 7 o'clock. Once we get to 8 and 9 o'clock, that action is moving out of much of our area, and the severe weather threat really should be winding down. Quick flash of the 7-day forecast looking at your Memorial Day weekend. This looks like every Memorial Day weekend in North Carolina history. Really. Low 80s, chance of a late day storm. That's not so bad. We'll be back after this.
Hi, mic check 1 2 3, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Go.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Good Friday afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Tahesha Moise and Eric Chilton, who are working from home this afternoon. Remember, we like to call this a two-way street. We're not just talking at you, we want you to talk back. So join our conversation on our Facebook stream, WFMY News 2. Use our hashtag 4 to 5. We're also live on YouTube if you'd rather watch there.
Three races done so far in NASCAR's return. Those were in Darlington, and now NASCAR will move to Charlotte for the next few races. We wanted to see how it's been going for those who are back to work at the track. So WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson is here now. She caught up with a freelance worker who's been working all the races so far.
About 2 weeks ago, I talked to a freelance engineer who makes nearly all of his money by working NASCAR races. So you can imagine how happy he is that the sport is back and he's able to get a paycheck again. But just how safe does he feel out there? Andy Hitchcock, and this is his new accessory while he's working at the track. He says it's mandatory for everyone to wear a mask. While workers are on the property, they have to social distance too. Andy says he communicates with people through text a lot to avoid meeting up with them. But before the day even starts, there's already safety measures in place.
We're tested every morning when we come to work. Actually, even before we come to work, we get a survey via text or email that we have to answer. That's basically the standard questions. Have you been around anybody that has it? Do you have any of the symptoms? And then when you come to work, they actually do a temperature check and they ask you the questions again. And if there's any concerns at all, they tell you to stay home. So they've done a really good job of making sure that we're safe.
Andy says he has to wear a mask all day long, so that means 10 to 12 hours a day. It's a long time, but he says if that means he can work again, he's willing to do it. And from his perspective, he thinks everything's going great so far, and hopefully that will continue when we move over to Charlotte on Sunday.
Well, I tell you what, we finally get the sunshine back out. We dry up the ground quite nicely, and now rain is going to be pushing back our way. That's going to be happening over the next few hours, so enjoy this sunshine while it lasts. It's comfortable too. This is the way May is supposed to be. 77, a little stickiness, a little humidity to the air. A lot of that is because there's so much water on the ground evaporating into the air currently. This, though, is a line of showers and storms that is tracking our way. Notice it's not very wide, it's narrow, so it's moving in and it will quickly move out. But it's arriving in the foothills currently, really with some light to moderate and heavy batches of rainfall. That's going across Wilkes County and places like Allegheny County up to Mount Airy and Dobson shortly. Yadkin County too, you're going to be seeing this shortly as well, and northern Iredell County. We'll keep an eye on this. I think the severe weather threat up here is relatively low, but you go farther south, it's just a little bit warmer, a little more unstable, a little more concerning, to be quite frank with you. In uptown Charlotte, they just got through with a really nasty storm. There was a tornado warning here. Now it's a severe thunderstorm warning where damaging straight line winds are possible. In fact, if you're in Montgomery County right now, you have a severe thunderstorm warning just issued until 4:45. So that's going to be for the next 15 minutes. Really, I should say that's not that one. This is a different one. But bottom line, this storm moving toward Montgomery County, Troy, by around 5 o'clock or so. When it gets there, you can expect some damaging wind gusts. Severe thunderstorm watch, meaning that possibility of severe weather, is in effect south of I-40 through about 10 o'clock. I think the storms will be out of here before 10, more likely out of here by 8 o'clock. We'll watch that carefully. Here's Futurecast. Notice most of the action south of Greensboro, and then by 9 and 10 o'clock, we're left with just a couple of leftover showers. The main threats are for damaging winds, maybe some hail as well. That tornado threat is low, but I'm here in studio tracking it every step of the way for you.
Let's get you caught up this afternoon with your 4 to 5 roundup. Flags will be flown at half-staff on federal buildings for the next 3 days to honor Americans who have died from the coronavirus. President Donald Trump tweeted the announcement out on Thursday. 94,000 people in the United States have died from the virus, according to Johns Hopkins University. The president also said flags will be lowered on Monday for Memorial Day. President Trump and Senate Leader Mitch McConnell are now working on a plan to encourage Americans to get back to work. Millions of people across the country are now collecting unemployment, and there's talk of phasing out coronavirus-related unemployment benefits. This comes as Congress looks to pass another aid package. The Senate, though, is taking a break on new pandemic proposals. And more changes are coming to airports. The TSA outlined several new procedures at screening points to protect people from COVID-19. Passengers will soon have to scan their own boarding pass. Everyone is asked to wear a face covering, and social distancing will be encouraged. TSA is also asking people to separate food in clear plastic bags, and you're now allowed to carry on 12-ounce bottles of hand sanitizer rather than 3 ounces. Tomorrow you can buy chicken at a major discount. Daystar Church is partnering with Rayford Farms again for the big sale. It begins at 9 o'clock in the morning at the church on Merritt Drive in Greensboro. You can buy 40-pound boxes of various cuts of chicken for as low as $25. It is cash only, and there is not a pre-order option.
2 North Carolina beaches getting national recognition these days. Ocracoke Beach ranked second best beach in America, and Lighthouse Beach ranked number 5. This list, by the way, made by Stephen Leatherman. He's a Florida coastal scientist who knows what he's talking about here. The 3rd year in a row, Ocracoke has ranked number 2, by the way. You can only access that island by air or water. Now, Leatherman uses about 50 categories to rank these beaches, including the cleanliness of the water, safety, and management. Number 1 beach, by the way, in the U.S. is Grayton State Park in Florida. I thought it was interesting, though, guys, that it was all Outer Banks and not our southern beaches, where more people, I think, from this part of our state go to the southern beaches. But there's a reason for that. It's because our coastline cuts in. It's a shorter drive to head south than it is to go straight to the east. But Outer Banks are beautiful.
Eric, as someone who's lived in both North Carolina and Florida, how do you compare the beaches?
So the thing about Florida beaches, when you're on the East Coast, same thing as North Carolina beaches, but hotter. But if you're on the west coast of Florida, the water feels like bath water, like it's significantly warmer because the bay and the Gulf is much more shallow than the Atlantic. So I'm sorry, I'm getting meteorological on here. But to me, I like cooler waters instead of that warmer water of the Gulf.
I'd have to agree with that. People say it felt like bath water, and I don't know that that's a good thing when I've spent all day on the beach. But hey, I'll take any beach right now, right, Tahisha? Any of them.
Oh yeah, I'm dying to go to the beach. I actually just booked a trip with some of my girlfriends to go to the Outer Banks, hopefully in the summer. Just get a house, just a couple of us, and just relax. I was trying to think of my favorite beach, and most of my favorite beaches aren't in the U.S. I will say, though, I've been down to Key West, and their beaches there are really nice. Enjoy those waters down there. Well, you know, we're talking about this weekend, and people may be out and about going places for Memorial Day weekend. Well, over in California, there are some interesting things going on as people are trying to be outside but keep within that 6 feet of social distancing. So Andrea Borba with CBS News shows us how some folks over in California are making social distancing work while being outside. Take a look.
All right, Deja, so clearly the audio is a little wonky in that story, but you can see the circles on the ground, and we've seen the images in places like Brooklyn, New York, and now on the West Coast. I like that idea. I like sectioning off a social distance circle when I'm out and about.
But then once you're in that circle, you have to lay something down on the ground, right? Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting in the same germs, I guess, as the person before you. But you know that that's your space once you have that blanket laid down.
And we know the virus research has shown it doesn't spread as easily outdoors, which is a good thing, especially with that sun shining down. And it's good to get out, especially when the weather's nice.
Yeah, like right now, before some potential storms head our way. So I think after work, I'm going to go sit on my balcony and maybe eat dinner there tonight.
Yeah, better get that in before it comes our way, Deja, that's for sure. All right, let's check in with Daniel.
I asked in a Twitter poll this morning, what would you be doing this weekend now that phase 2 is in effect? And most of you said not eat at a restaurant, not get your hair or nails done, but stay home anyway, 67%. So Maddie, does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me. A lot of people I've talked to, Tanya, have said they appreciate the option of being able to go out, but they're still going to stay at home.
All right, well, I asked this on my Facebook page too, and I got mostly, I want to stay at home, right? But I did get a handful of, I'm going to be at the restaurant at 5 p.m. as well. So if that is the case, you heard them talk about it a little bit earlier, but we wanted to show you when and if you go out to a restaurant, you may want to take a look at this interactive map first. It is from the state. It's Count on Me NC. Now this shows the restaurants in your area that have completed a COVID-19 training for cleaning, social distancing, and more. Well, maybe you're not one to look things up, right? Okay, that's okay. Here's another way to know if the restaurant has gone through the extra training. They're going to have a certificate that's just like that posted, just like they do with the sanitation score.
Gotcha. And don't be surprised if you see your server wearing a sticker that looks like that too.
Right, and it's not the law. They don't have to do this training, but it is recommended. And at last count, I have to say, I only saw 12 places in Greensboro. I'm hoping to see more.
Right, it's all about peace of mind, right? As we start to leave our homes for the very first time in, 9 weeks, we're really starting to go out and eat. It'd be nice to see people with that training. Does it cost anything to do this?
That's a really good question. I don't know. In fact, I know it doesn't because I heard them say today during the thing that it was a free online course. So everybody just gets to look at all of that.
Yeah, that's good.
That is a good point. Okay. Hey, could you use some good news? I know I could, right? It's the start of a 3-day weekend. We need to get in on it. So coming up at 5:30, we end this week with the stories that will make you proud to be part of this community. I say, bring it on. Hashtag joy to you.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to be at A3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You know, everybody releases stress a little bit differently, but hitting the water in a boat, that's a great way to do it. And it seems like it's becoming more and more popular these days, believe it or not, especially in the middle of the pandemic. Who would have thought that? I spoke with the folks at Rock Outdoors in Lexington near High Rock Lake, and they gave us the scoop.
So, Amy, it's kind of backwards for you guys. While a lot of businesses have troubles, a lot of folks turn to the water and boating and recreation when they were in quarantine. So what's been happening with you guys with all this?
We've actually been busy in our service department with people dropping off boats for us to fix so they can social distance on the lake. We've also been selling quite a few boats for people who do want to also social distance themselves and be on the lake away from everyone, enjoy family time together. Kayak sales have been great. Also fishing gear and live bait, anything that they can use to take themselves out of the environment with everybody around them and go out and enjoy their time.
So let's talk about this weekend. Big weekend for you guys, I'm sure, boating and stuff. What is the latest? What is everybody going to buy for this holiday weekend and for the season?
Everyone is looking at life jackets and towables, Hobie kayaks, native kayaks, looking at Bennington boats, Barletta boats. They are getting biz bait, anything that they can use to fish and enjoy this weekend. As long as the weather stays sunny and warm, we'll be ready for them.
Yeah, we got you covered on that front, that's for sure. What about boats themselves? What type of boats are people buying now?
Right now, pontoon boats are big, and we have all ranges of sizes. So people have bought anywhere from 18 foot up to 25 foot, whatever they need to meet their family needs. But pontoon boats have been a really great seller over the last 2 or 3 months.
Well, best of luck to you. I know you're going to be slammed through this holiday weekend, that's for sure. Thanks, Amy, for being with us today.
I do love a good pontoon boat. Now, if you need more information about Rock Outdoors or just boating in general, I have linked you to their website. Just look for this story at our website, WFNYnews2.com. And since it is Memorial Day weekend, I asked you what your plans were on Facebook, and a lot of folks had different plans. Some of you just saying, nope, staying home. But here's kind of an overview of everything. Mari Kennedy says, traveling and eating in every restaurant I can find. Can't wait to get back to normal living. Yep, we're taking baby steps, but we're getting there. Jean Bailey Robor says, staying home, enjoying the extra day off of work and planning to read a book and do some writing. That sounds really relaxing. Beth Johnson says we're at Crescent Beach till Tuesday. All is well here, says Beth. Patricia Collins said, and ironically, since we did this story, I thought I'd include this. We are going to High Rock Lake, she says. So enjoy yourself no matter where you're going or if you're staying home. Everybody deserves a break after all this anxious mess that we're going through right now.
Yeah, it'll be nice to just kind of relax and for some people have a 3-day weekend here. I didn't know it was a 3-day weekend until today, Eric, when you pitched the story this morning.
I didn't think about it again because you and I are here Monday, I'm sure.
And that is A-OK. No place I'd rather be than with my friends here at WFNY News 2. But yes, everyone just stay safe this Memorial Day weekend. That is the big thing.
That's right, especially.
Oh, I wonder what he was going to say, too. That's okay. Hey, we're talking about Memorial Day. It's finally starting to feel more like Memorial Day also. That's a big change from where we were the rest of the week. This is by far the warmest weather we've had all week long. Remember, we were in the 60s. The average high is now 79 degrees. We're sitting in the 70s, but you'll notice over Greensboro, the clouds are starting to thicken up. And I want to look at our Winston-Salem area now. This is on the campus of Wake Forest University. Clouds have really been building here, and that's a clue. That's a clue to the rain that's moving our way. We see this pushing in across the North Carolina mountains. It's kind of letting up in Boone already. It's a narrow line, but showers and perhaps some thunderstorms. Haven't seen any thunder yet, but wouldn't shock me if we find that. Right now, we're moving into Surry County, Yadkin County, Wilkes County. The worst of it is passing you by, but some downpours for sure. Gusty winds, maybe. This is all pushing into Forsyth and Stokes coming up next in probably the next 30 minutes, and then Guilford County and Rockingham County closer to, let's say, 5:30 and 6 o'clock this evening. The worst weather has been down near Charlotte. I know this map is exceptionally busy here. Sorry about that, but here's Concord. This is the heavy, heavy rain moving closer to Albemarle and then Troy. A severe thunderstorm warning for you until 5:30. Arrival times in Montgomery County anywhere from closer to 5 o'clock right there along the river. Troy by around 5:10 and then pushing closer to Seagrove and into southern Randolph, I would expect by closer to 5:20, 5:30, okay? There is a severe thunderstorm watch mainly for areas south of Interstate 40. So Davidson County, Randolph, Montgomery, you are included in that watch until 10 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm watch. What does it mean? Well, it means this line of storms is moving fast. It's only going to last a couple of hours. By 7 and 8 o'clock, we are seeing this go away. There could be a couple stragglers here closer to 9 and 10, but bottom line, thank goodness this is a short event. That should limit our rainfall totals to be less than a half an inch for most of us, and some could get around 1 inch on the high side of things. Severe weather impacts, generally looking at damaging wind gusts as the biggest concern here. Tornado threat is low, but the flooding threat, take a look at this. Cindy sent me this photo. This is Brooks Bridge Road, right there where the Haw River crosses it in northeast Guilford County. That road is totally underwater. Memorial Day weekend looks good. That's your forecast.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5, we are just minutes away from starting phase 2 of North Carolina's reopening plan. Hear from restaurant workers preparing to reopen dining rooms with fewer customers and how the city of Greensboro is helping welcome them back and customers in a safe way. That's coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5.
We want to honor our seniors this year. As you know, graduations haven't been able to happen as normally this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but we do want to take some time to honor them. Now, if you've been watching the 4 to 5 over the last few weeks, you've seen we've been honoring seniors in what we call our senior shout out. Now, unfortunately, we can't get to all of our submissions, but here are some of the seniors that we are highlighting today. So the first is Trevor Glisson. He is a senior at Western Guilford High School. He played varsity baseball there all 4 years. Trevor is a member of the National Honor Society, Student Council, and the Beta Club. He's also a Young Life senior leader and a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and Gents. Trevor will play baseball for Wake Tech in Raleigh next school year. Maja Simmons is a senior at Eastern Guilford High School. She's vice president of the National Honor Society, a band captain, and plays varsity softball. She'll be attending UNCG to major in music and pursue a career as a solo vocal artist. Maja, you sing on, girl. And Brendan Nigel Norfleet is graduating from Ragsdale High School. He's an AB honor roll student. He's played football and track at that school for 4 years. Brendan is also the student body treasurer. Brendan will be attending UNC Charlotte to major in pre-kinesiology. We do want to take some time to say a big congratulations to the class of 2020. I know this is not the way you wanted things to turn out, but we are proud of you just the same. Well, if you want to share your senior shout outs with us, all you have to do is find the submission form on our website. You can submit a photo of your senior. We're asking that you don't send professional photos though. Be sure to include their name and their school. You can also include a personal message with your shout out. More of the 4 to 5 when we come back, and you'll want to stay tuned for Eric Chilton's My 2 Cents.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Hey there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's easy to do. There's the bees, a Brett, hi, I'm listening.
Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm here at the Smoked Restaurant in downtown Greensboro on Elm Street. And
the city of Greensboro is going to allow businesses to dine outside.
So when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my 2 cents today, all I had to do was look out the window. And then I said, wait a minute, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about the return of the sun, this horribly bright ball of light in the sky. What is that? After the last few days, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Sunshine, people. We are back to sunshine again. The rain stopped. So this is the last 2 days. Take a look. And this is what we have today. So it made me just, you know what? I said, I'm just going to walk outside and enjoy the sunlight. Now, have you ever heard of seasonal affective disorder? If you've never heard of that, it is a real thing. Basically, it's how the weather affects our moods. And it does. It affects us dramatically. It's one of the things that we talked about in meteorology school, as a matter of fact, is how that affects us. So really, when weather's bad, people can get depressed. And when the weather turns good again, they're happy again. Almost childlike. And with that, I may have to go play on the fort. Feel free to come join me. Just enjoy the sunshine, people. It is a beautiful day out there. Well, that's just my 2 cents. And that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5. It starts right now.
Well, today at 5 p.m., North Carolina enters Safer at Home Phase 2.